express that and explore that is because of how uh, dangerous and how like harmful homophobia is within male communities, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you go out and kiss a guy, you might get fucking jumped, right? Like if you kiss a guy on the street. Now, this isn't to say it's
Yeah, because I know it gave you. I tell people when you go to these conventions, it gives you confirmation of how far you have grown in your career.
Yes.
And also, I'm pretty sure you had a bunch of the top talent that you haven't shot with say, "We seen your video."
Yes. I've had people who come up to can make money off of it.
But see, the thing about it is, okay, let's just keep it 100. The girls nowadays don't give a fuck about the money; they want to go rock.
Well,
yeah, people want to go. So it's kind of like the girl. A lot of the girls that don't show their face with the feet, it ain't because they make more money with the feet. Back to where you're not doing the content house. You're shooting content, but you're not shooting with everybody that got their mama. Now it done kind of the circle done closed up a little bit to make yourself. And we are back. I forgot my name. I got my little ashtray. What's going on, partner?
What's up, big guy?
Oh my God. Smokers, we are so blessed to have one of our wonderful sponsors here with us today. You know, I always bring them on the show. And y'all know what time it is. It's time to smoke this over. Welcome to the Smokers Lounge. I'm Kevin, the Southern Champ, aka the Porn Rap Star. Y'all know what to do. Find all my links with one link, allmylinks.com/Porn Rap Star. Y'all know the sponsors, so I'm gonna have to go through them because I got to introduce him, but y'all know who they are. So, Eroticism Magazine, Blush Erotica, and due to that, some has disappeared off the map. It done shrunk, so now I got to go straight to my two newest ones, Past That Apparel, as well as SmokeKind.com, the king of THCA, vapes, edibles, flowers, and everything to do with legal weed, mailed straight to your door. So be kind and go ahead and hit that referral link and buy something from Smoke Kind. Also, you can still find me 5 days out the week in the mornings at fullswatradio.com, sgpradio.com, and skyhoappadogtv.com. Now, y'all know I bring my sponsor on every now and then because, you know, I'm one of the few podcasts that actually got porn sponsors. And this one's been with us since day motherfucking one. They are one of the hottest, if not the hottest, adult magazine in the motherfucking game, people. And it's international. So you just ain't seeing American women. You seeing women from across the goddamn globe. And this is the brainchild, the CEO, one of the top photographers, and the motherfucking man. I'm talking about none other than Kevin Stoll, a.k.a. Mr. Eroticism Magazine. Please say hello again to my smokers.
What's up, big guys? How you doing? Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. It is hump day.
Oh, yeah.
It is Ash Wednesday. It is hump day. So how we doing? How's everybody doing?
I am doing fine, man. Just right now, in between jobs, regular 9 to 5s, because I was working at a rest home. The company that I was under left that rest home, and I left with the company. So I just got to go meet with them tomorrow so that I can continue and get a better job paying. But anyway, enough about my boring ass life. What's been going on with you in the mag, man?
Well, we had a lag. There was a time when we had a lull because I had a photographer that was working with me that was helping create content. After my stroke, and I came back to the U.S. Here in Houston, I haven't been able to hook up with anybody. So if any girls here in the Houston area, yeah, you can come on down. We can shoot here in my cottage, no problem. I did have a girl here for 3 weeks. I had a content creator here for 3 weeks, a 20-year-old who came to stay with me, and we did some content. And hopefully, her stuff will be up online in her OnlyFans soon. But I don't know. She just sort of disappeared.
Houston. I got to see you meet my girl Queen B. Shouts out to Queen, Bunny B. She's in Houston. I think y'all should connect.
Okay.
Because
It'd
as
be
she
good.
will be sending the content house coming up in September. So I'll give you her stuff so you can reach out to her and everything. And you might
Okay.
meet you.
Yeah. So if any models out there want to submit stuff that they did with other photographers, that's great. You can do that.
Mhm.
We do have requirements on resolution and things because of the fact that the publisher requires it. The
Yeah.
magazine is available in print and it is available digital, so you have your choice, digital or print. Um, and we're on the largest platform of digital magazines and books, which is Zinio.com. They're our number one. You get your print copies off of MagCloud. You'll see that on our website. But I haven't had a chance to update the websites that you can see
Mhm.
behind me here. I haven't had a chance to
Oh, yeah.
update all of that shit yet, but going to get that updated with some new content we put up. I just did a new concept where I'm actually writing short stories about my experience
Mm.
in the industry and before the industry. So yeah, it's we all see the porn movies where the
Yeah.
photographer and the model end up fucking, right? It don't
Yeah.
happen that way. It doesn't. Well, okay, it doesn't always happen that way. Let me tell you, it does happen that way. It happened to me once that way, and
Mhm.
only once.
Mhm.
And that's a story I just finished writing. It's going to have its own issue because it wasn't
Mhm.
one day. It started one day and then continued on for weeks. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, and just like the girl who was just here with me now, she came in for a photo shoot. She had been stalking me for a while. She said for about 3 months she had been stalking me. So she
Mhm.
came in and she wanted to create content. And the next thing I know, she was like, "No," she said, "I want to fuck." And
Damn it! I
I
wish I could
mean,
say that. I wish I could
when I
fuck
tell
somebody
you
right
about three times a day, a beautiful Afro Latina. I mean, my God.
now. Oh my
So yeah,
goodness.
so I made some changes to the format of Erotique magazine, which is where you'll find the stories, the erotic stories and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
they are explicit. They are explicit. They are. I wrote them. I was going to do a book, but I just
Mhm.
wrote a book called Erotic Intelligence. That's going to
Mm.
be coming out probably in the next 2 weeks. It'll probably be available on 10 different platforms. I'm just waiting for the
Oh my God!
publisher
So
to.
now we dibbling dabbling into the erotic fiction, well, erotic stories per se.
Well, erotic stories, no fiction, and the erotic intelligence is just basically something that is real. I mean, erotic intelligence is something that's real, but I took my experiences over my 48 years in photography and my probably 52, 53 years into sex itself, and then the last 35 years in the adult industry. So yeah, so I took all of those things and broke them into chapters and stuff. So there's going to be a nice little book that people that want to actually see what erotic intelligence actually consists of, what we talk about when we say erotic intelligence. It's going to be
Yeah.
out there, and I will post about it on my Twitter page so that everybody knows. But yeah, I'm waiting for the publisher for final approval. I had to do some edits and things like that for a couple of the platforms, I guess that they publish to. So yeah, I had a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire right now. But back to getting the magazine on track, and I had conversations with the publisher this morning. If there's any photographers that would like to collaborate, you're more than welcome to. Like I said, we do have some content things that we need to talk about, size and resolution of images that we're able to use in the magazine. I'm also doing a very special issue right now for a girl who's a friend of mine. She's from India,
Mhm.
and she doesn't live in
Sweet.
India, but she's from India, and we're actually doing an entire magazine based around her and her stories. She's a content creator. She's on a platform that, I mean, I don't know. It's not my thing. I don't. It's not very popular. I know OnlyFans, Fansly, things, ChatterBait, Live Jasmine, and stuff. But she's on a different platform, and when it comes out, that'll also be out there. So, very sexy lady. Very. She's kind of like me. She's hypersexual. That's what my
Damn.
psychiatrist told me anyway. Hypersexual. I treat all of the things that bother me by having sex. So,
Mhm.
and that's what this girl who was just here with me for 3 weeks. That was she also had. She treats her bipolar depression through sex,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, because a lot of ladies use porn as a
an
what's
expression.
what I'm looking for as a way to as therapy to get over past trauma, especially trauma that
Yep.
was involved on a sexual level.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and not only women, but men also do it.
Yeah.
Because like for me, my psychiatrist told me because of my PTSD, my depression, my anxiety, I have always used sex to compensate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, he told me, he said, that's cool. He said, but don't make any long-term plans. And it is true. I mean, I was married one time. My marriage lasted about 12 years. And then I had another relationship after that that lasted about 12 weeks. And then burned into a relationship that lasted about a month, and then burned into a relationship that lasted 10 years. So I burned through a lot of shit in my lifetime. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just have to learn how to compartmentalize things a little bit better.
Yeah, of course. Because even with me, like now being retired, I actually miss filming. I miss being in front of the camera because it was kind of therapeutic for me.
Oh yeah, of
Because I didn't
course.
really have no trauma sexually as a young adult or even a child, but it allowed me to escape the world and just focus on that. You know what I'm saying? And sex
Oh,
is therapy, whether y'all believe it or not. It actually is. You'd be
oh
surprised
yeah,
what
it is. Absolutely it is. And like I said, my psychiatrist from Mexico, who I spoke with yesterday about the situation that I got myself into, he said to me, he said, it sounds like the problem is that two hypersexual people, one who is working through his depression and loneliness, and the other one who was working through her bipolar depression,
Mhm.
came together. And it was like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Yeah.
And yeah, it basically it was. I mean, like I told a friend of mine in Atlanta, I said, hey, the sex was incredible. I mean, God knows. I mean, it was 24 hours a day. Morning wood, afternoon wood, noonies and everything else. I mean, she just wanted to ride. That was it. So yeah, I mean, I was happy for 3 weeks. Now I'm coming, like you said, I'm coming down off of my adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
and it's like when you're in a car accident, you have that moment of adrenaline rush, or if you're in a shooting, there's
Mhm.
that moment of adrenaline rush, and then you come down from it, and coming down from it is hard. It
Mhm.
hits you really hard. So that's what it is. I was yesterday. I was coming down from it. He told me clean up everything that she left behind, everything the way that you lived with her,
Yeah.
get rid of everything, and put everything back the way it was, and start focusing on your life again. So I
Mhm.
did. I mean, I started working on my stories. I started back, working with my publisher on the book, getting photos that I had taken 15 years ago that I still have not edited yet, and I haven't
Mhm.
included them in the magazine. So they're going to be coming out, photos from Latin America. Like in the most recent one, I had a Russian model, um, who appeared in the magazine. I had a Russian girl, I had a Colombian girl.
Nice.
Uh, so yes, I mean the magazine was originally, remember, it was originally based in Mexico. So I had
Yeah.
not only girls from Mexico, but I had Colombia, Venezuela, Chile. I had Russia. I had China. I had girls from everywhere coming that
Mhm.
wanted to be in the magazine. They were working in the sex industry, but at the time when I first began this, they were working in sex work as escorts and high class escorts and low class escorts and stuff like that, which it doesn't bother me. I don't care what you do in the sex work industry. You're welcome to come in and be a part of this. I
Mhm.
started erotic photography with street prostitutes from New York.
Mhm.
They used to, stand on the corners underneath my studio. And in the winter, it all started because in the wintertime and the summertime, they
Mhm.
would come up to get warm or to get cooled off and get a drink or get a coffee or something.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, and so yeah, I mean that was how it all started. At black and white photography. I developed my own black and white film back in the day, medium format, and I was a holdout on the digital photography. I think we talked about this once before. When cameras started coming out with when phones started coming out with cameras and video things, I was still resisting. I kept my little Motorola flip phone because I didn't want that. I wasn't going to be taking, as a photographer, you're not wanting to take pictures with a phone. And that was back in the day, but they were useless photos for print back in the day. And all of the magazines that I worked for from 1990, from the early 1990s or the late 1980s, all the magazines I worked for, they required positives, not negatives, and they required, there was no digital world. But in 2004, I think it was, I was covering the riots in Cancun and the protests, maybe 2002, and the TV station that I was shooting for wanted to have it in digital photography, so I went out and I bought my first digital camera, and that's how it started. The video, they still wanted the video footage, but they wanted it uploaded. They wanted the raw footage uploaded instead of and in those days we connected with a modem. We had 56 kilobytes of speed. So I would start uploading, at night, and in the morning it would just be finishing.
Oh yeah, I remember, because people don't realize back in the day, downloading shit was hell.
Oh yeah.
Because technology, the internet, how can I put this? The internet still hadn't caught up with the technology of the cameras. Now, the internet has caught up with everything. So it's not it's 4K, because now 4K is so big. You got and then virtual reality, all the virtual shit and everything.
Yep.
I want to ask you this though, because I had this conversation with many ladies. What's old is new again. You got companies still sell DVDs. You got places in the world that still accept DVDs. Just like there are places in the world that still read magazines, still want magazines, and so forth, especially on the international scale. Because we do know there's certain laws, there's certain porn you can't watch and so forth. And I also see that girls nowadays don't understand the power of a pictorial, of a photo. Period. So for you, how has the magazine still stayed relevant in this day and age? Because even to the point where I'm starting to see a rise of erotic fiction and so forth. So how has the magazine still stayed relevant in the digital era? Well,
one thing that I'm actually going to write an article about this for another magazine, but and I'm going to also publish a version of it on my website. But one thing that emerged in this last, I would say in the last 6 months, especially at my publisher, is that 30% of the magazines now that they have available from the adult industry are AI generated magazines. AI girls, they're AI guys, they're AI trans, they're, everything is AI. There's no real people in them. And they're beating out my content that's real, and that maybe the girls aren't, these Victoria's Secret models, but the girls are real, and what they're selling is they're selling somebody's imagination of what a girl looks like. Yeah. Like and you can buy anything and everything from AI generated trans, AI generated lesbian stuff, AI hardcore.
The downside of that is that the models that are in there are not real, so the fans can't connect to them. Versus the models that you have, we can find them online, we can join their sites, we can follow them on Twitter and so forth.
We can get on their website. We can go to their OnlyFans. We can subscribe to their Twitter. We can subscribe to their Instagram, because part of what the magazine's origins was helping the girls promote themselves to get seen. So we always shared their what's up, but we always shared their Twitter, we always shared their Instagram, and if they had a website where they were published, this was before OnlyFans was around, but there were other websites that were either free or pay before that. We would promote that for them, and and that became actually a very positive part of the magazine. And in the beginnings, the girls paid to appear in the magazine, like Playboy does now. If you want to be on the cover of a Playboy magazine or in a Playboy magazine from any country, you have to pay. The girl has to pay, or somebody has to pay. And that's the way we worked back in the day. But it was what you were paying for was the publicity, because we had more of an exposure. We were at 4,000. Our website was at 4,000 per day, unique visits per day. It was over 20,000 hits per day. And we had about, I think it was 60 page views a day per visitor. Mm-hmm. They would go flipping through all of the different pages of the magazine. So a lot of things have evolved, and some are positive, some are negative. I can tell you, when COVID was going on, when I first started actually selling the magazine online, that was going on, and I was selling about $1,000 a month in magazine subscriptions and magazine issues. I would get 50% of that. The publisher takes 50, I would get 50. So there wasn't a lot of margin left. So, on a $1,000 sales, I got around $490 because I had to pay credit card fees and other stuff. Yeah. But the upside of it was they had that automatic, like the porn sites do, like you buy a subscription, and at the end of the 12 months, it automatically renews you unless you cancel. Yeah. So it was good back in the day. But once COVID passed, and I actually didn't work during COVID, but I had enough material during COVID to, cover building the magazine and continuing to do the issues. That was basically the biggest problem, was that once COVID ended, people stopped wanting to do magazines. Now, we don't sell a lot of printed issues. Yeah. Most people get the digital. Yeah. But what happens is that the printed issues, the models like to order them. Yeah. So I'll order them for a model, or I'll order them for a particular photographer, and I'll send it over. It'll be shipped to me, and then I'll send it to them. Because they only allow one shipping. Right now, they only allow discounted purchases to come to me directly. So, and I did have a guy in the UK that wanted to buy like 100 copies at a time and sell it because he still actually has a magazine store. That he works for. He wanted to actually, buy a whole set of one issue and try to sell it, see how it went. But it was just too expensive for me to ship it to the UK. He wouldn't have made any. We both wouldn't have made any money.
Oh no, the internet. I remember my days of sending DVDs. Man, it's hell, and it costs to ship that shit overseas.
Oh yeah.
I remember them days out there. I'm talking about shipping like 20 different titles, or 10 of the same title.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even when I was in Mexico, I tried to ship some stuff from the U.S. to Mexico. I had some stuff that was left at my father's house, and when he died, I was going to ship it to Mexico, and it was one box. I think it weighed about 20 pounds, and it was $349 to send that, and it didn't have enough sentimental or monetary value for me to want to do that, to even invest in that. So yeah, it was all just kind of it was useless back in the day, and today it's still useless to try to ship stuff overseas now, especially with the tariffs.
Yeah,
and that's another thing that's beating the shit out of me.
The tariffs, yeah.
The tariffs, yeah.
When they go over with.
No, I mean, I'm if it wasn't for the political environment right now in the U.S., I'd go back to Mexico and live there. Yeah. I'd go to Mexico, or I'd go to Colombia, because I have opportunities in both places. I have people in both places.
I would go to Colombia because shouts out to blonde Latin mom. I was gonna send you her link So you can hook up with her. She can get in that damn magazine if you ain't already got her. But yeah, she in Colombia. I would love to go to Colombia to taste some of that Latin food if you get my drift. But to me, it's like your magazine became, and for a lot of ladies in South America, Central America, and so forth, a vehicle for them to be seen worldwide as well as over here, and still is.
Oh yeah.
How many ladies on the international side still be hitting you up to be in the mag and still sending you material?
Well, that's one of the things that, you know, I tell girls from Mexico that I have worked with in the past, and that I, you know, for other reasons, and now they have their OnlyFans, they've got their Fansly, they've got their webcamming site and all that. And, you know, I tell them, look, you're advertising yourself only in Spanish. So you're appealing to the Spanish speaking market, and you're in Mexico and you're appealing to the Mexican market. Here, what we're offering you is to appeal to an audience that, yes, our biggest market is the US, but our second biggest market is the UK, and our third biggest market is Germany. And then from there, we've got, you know, our market goes to Asia. We've got Asian market. We've got South African market. We've got a market in Italy. So yeah, I mean, we have the largest market. We don't have a big Latin American market. Our market typically is English speaking, European or North American, you know, Canada, US, and the western part of Europe. Even Romania.
Yeah, because see, like one of the arguments I was having with someone, and I told somebody this, when the reason why you want to, even in this day and age, still want to shoot with a mag or shoot even on the porn side with the major companies is ladies don't realize how limited you are when it comes to with Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans. You're only tapping this market. You're not tapping the international market.
Exactly.
You know, and hold on, one more thing. And OnlyFans is not popping in every country. But
exactly.
Mags,
that's why girls have 2 or 3 different.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's why some of the girls, you know, the girls that are in the know, you know, like, and some of the ones that I've worked with, like Hot Wives and Swingers and stuff like that, they know that, you know, first of all, Twitter today is saturated with bots, and you know, literally it's saturated with bots. You know, so you don't always have real people that are looking at your content. You know, you may see that you had 1,000 views, but of those 1,000 views, how many were real? How many were bots passing by?
And not only that, how many of them, how can I put this, is from your fans you already got? Nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And how many of them are actually willing to put, you know, money into the, you know, into the till to have a show? You know, a lot of people remember back in the day when Twitter first started up and sexual content wasn't a problem. A lot of people came on to Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that to see stuff for free because they didn't want to pay. And it was the same thing with it's the same thing with like the platform Chatterbait. You know, people sign up and have Chatterbait accounts because the girls will do anything to get, you know, the coins in their slot there. And so, you know, other than having sex on camera for free, you know, they'll show their tits, they'll show their ass, maybe they'll touch themselves, things like that. And so these are the people that sign up there, and they don't really care.
No. But see, the thing about it is that this just to me, ladies, when I came in the game, understand the value of professional looking pics, poses, and so forth. The pics we get now is about sex, not about sexy. You know?
Yep.
And why do you think females, from a photography standpoint, lost that thought process? Because the one thing magazines showed was it showed sex, but it showed sexiness and sex appeal. It didn't just sell sex. While now, like you go down a girl page, she's in the same position, squirting, shoving the dildo on her coochie, them the pictures, and it's kind of like it's not giving me sexy, just giving me thought. You feel what I'm coming from?
Right. Yeah, I mean, when the magazine originated, I mean, we didn't have any explicit content. It was erotic, and that was the original concept. But we had to evolve because the original publisher that I was with, Skin Mags, they were a video concept magazine publisher. So we were competing against actual videos of people having sex and getting blowjobs and so on and so forth, rather than just erotic.
Don't you hate that? Don't you hate when they started the digital mag? And is that really a magazine?
Well, it's evolution, It is the evolution, Bobby. It's what it is. Unfortunately, we even Playboy, when you see that Playboy and Penthouse and all the other ones, they've gone from having, a print market to going into a digital market. It is easier, today. I wish when I was a kid, I had the digital copies instead of the real ones that nobody could find.
Yeah. But to me, because it's a point, I remember back in the day, that was a concept where they were talking about the online mag, which was still pictures.
You left something to your imagination.
Yeah. Because I used to love the pictorials. One of my favorite pictorials was, I forgot what mag it was. She was a maid. She was a sexy ass redhead. And she was a maid that was cleaning a public bathroom. And she played it. She used a dildo. It was not a dude, but she played it as if she happened to run across a guy that was in the bathroom jerking off. So he sticks his dick through the hole and she fucks it. And it was a hot pictorial. And to me, the pictorial was just as good as the video because it shows you the gradual, steps of what was going on or what have you. And you do the same with yours to a certain extent. And then those are fuck pictorials. We're not even talking about the model by herself with the pictures and stuff. And speak to the importance of a sexy pose and how it sells the model more so than her shoving the dildo in her pussy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, you can go on X videos or Pornhub and see somebody getting laid or somebody's, masturbating with a dildo or a vibrator or whatever you want. But the whole concept of eroticism has disappeared, basically, which is why I launched the second magazine, because eroticism took a turn from suggestive, sensual, and erotic to more hardcore, legs spread open, pussy out, dildo in, touching yourself. No sex, still suggestive. We did do one, I think it was last year. I had one, or the year before, that was a husband and wife. They were swingers, but there was no sex. It was just suggestive. And the focus was on her, not on him. And Erotique magazine kind of goes back to that value that originated from Eroticism magazine, of the non-explicit, we're categorized there now in the men's lifestyle category, which I like because it gives us two sides. It gives us the adult side and the men's lifestyle.
That's sweet. So, because it's the point, like when I go down to her page, when I see a good picture, it makes me stop. You know what I'm saying? And with you, because like I said, because you stick with the some motherfuckers just go straight video. Why do you not decide to go straight video and you still keep with the pictures? You feel me? Because a lot of motherfuckers break and try to do the video shit like you were saying that other dude was doing, which I don't consider that really a magazine. It's a fucking porn site.
Exactly.
You feel me? I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, and I mean, it was hard to compete with those types of magazines, because while I did shoot some videos, girls alone videos back in the day, and myself, I've been in before I met this African Latino girl, I was in 4 videos before that. I appeared in 4 videos. Before I left Mexico, I was offered to be in one more video. I was asked to be actually in one more that I had with the girl that I had performed with before. She wanted to do it. She wanted to do that scene with me, and unfortunately, I turned it down because I was doing something with Netflix before I left Mexico.
Oh, sweet.
And yeah, we did a documentary, and actually, she turned the document was I did one episode of the documentary, and they turned it into 6 episodes, and that was on sex trafficking in Latin America.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, it's a very common thing in Latin America to encounter people who have been sex trafficked, children, guys, girls. So we did, and I had a model who was actually killed by but yeah, we don't know if it was we believe it was a serial killer that was focused on killing sex workers. There was a trans girl, there was a girl from Colombia, one girl from Venezuela, a Mexican girl. So I had experience with the whole industry there. And so they asked me to come and tell the story about this girl because her mother and her brother didn't want to come up and didn't want to go on camera and talk about it. And since I was so involved with the family, not only with the girl, but the family knew me and everybody knew me. So I went on and I talked about her situation and how it evolved because she came to me to get out of the sex work industry and to get into mainstream modeling. And I was the base photographer for an agency, a modeling agency. So I hooked her up with them, and but eventually, costs came, and she had to pay her mom's rent, and I offered to pay it for her because we're only talking, it was like about $85 to pay her rent for her mom. But she took an appointment and never came back. And then 2 days later, they found her sort of chopped up with a pair of pruning things stuck in her chest and stuffed under a bed in a motel. So yeah, so I got to tell. What's that?
Your thoughts and prayers.
Oh yeah, it was pretty horrible. I don't know why, but I think I disconnected my headphones. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but my microphone disconnected. So that was the last project I did before I left Mexico was with Netflix. That was in 2022. But I haven't done anything with them since then. I also did an ambiance scene with them. People might have seen it on my Twitter and my Instagram. They needed for an episode of a soap opera from Latin America. They needed an environment created that looked like a sex club, a sex trafficking club.
Sure.
So I had a friend that was a producer in Mexico, and he contacted me and he's like, "You got more experience in this side of it than I do. So, can you come up and help me build an environment for them?" And we did. I went up there and I helped him with it, and I was able to work with an incredible Netflix director from Argentina. He was just wonderful, and the girl that was the main character, she was from Cuba, very pretty girl, and she was a what do you call it, like a federal police, and she was the one who came in and busted the whole thing up. And then after that, I did a couple of other things with models and what have you. But I got away from the video because it just, even for weddings and stuff, I just stopped doing video completely. I said, I'm going to focus back on what my career was, my bachelor's degree is in media studies with a minor in journalism. So I had, the writing and the photography and the video and all that stuff, but I wanted to get back to just the photography. Like I started in the beginning, and that's what I did I guess it was around 2020 or 2018, 2019. I sold all my video equipment. I found a director in Mexico that was looking for equipment, and I sold him all my professional filming equipment. And the only thing I kept was my small camera. I can still film. I mean, I can still film in 4K and all of that, but I don't do it anymore. I don't offer the service anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's the industry has changed a lot, and where I'm at, I don't have a lot of opportunity here.
Hmm.
I would have to move myself to either, if I wanted to work every day, shooting every day and creating content every day, I'd have to move to California or Miami or to Chicago, Las Vegas, New
But
York.
where is it? Is it because you just don't know the environment in Houston? I mean, Houston got a actually becoming a strong hub for porn
Well,
and adult content.
you would think so, but I've tried to reach out to people and I get either no reply. I don't know whether their accounts are just disabled. And I did have a girl in Dallas that appeared in the magazine twice, but now she's doing mainstream porn, so she's not really interested.
Damn. Well, shoot. Well, like I said, I mean, people don't realize that it's sometimes hard to find people to work with. Even if you live in a good area, sometimes it's hard.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have more contacts. I think that's part of the problem. I have more contacts in Mexico than I do in the U.S. And secondly, the people that I do have contact with and do have a relationship with, even though it is virtual, they're in California, Las Vegas, and Miami. So, I do have a girl in Atlanta that wants to work with me, but we just can't get organized. We she just can't get here. I can't get there. So
I know that feeling.
until we figure something out. We talked last night for about an hour and a half about it, but yeah, I mean, she wants to be in the magazine so bad, and she even asked some of the photographers that have shot her to give her the photos and stuff, and they won't give them to her. So you really got to be careful who you work with. Who you work with. If you're a model, you got to really be careful who you work with, and if you're a photographer, you really have to be upfront about what you're going to deliver for the money that people are paying. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes it's not about how much you're charging a model to do the shoot, but like in her case, she was invited to an event. She had to pay $80 to be in the event,
Damn.
which was a bunch of photographers and a bunch of models, and they were going to do like a sip and shoot. And from there, she had to pay for her, flight to North Carolina, I think she went, or South Carolina, I forget where it was. But she had to pay for that. She had to pay for her hotel, and she had to pay for her Uber to get around. So in total, she said she spent about $400, not counting eating. And then none of the photographers followed up sending photos or giving her photos, and they won't give them to her. So
Mhm.
it left her in a situation where she's been very disappointed with photographers, and the fact that a lot of photographers and this is aimed at you guys out there that don't know what customer service is, that really they don't answer messages, they don't they don't want to talk on the phone. I mean, I talk to my girls on the phone. If I send a text message
Mhm.
offering somebody to be in the magazine, I give them my phone number. Call me. These are the hours that you can call me. And, well, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And anything that I'm going to deliver to you, I'm going to give it to you in writing. It's as simple as that.
Mhm.
And for the magazine, you don't get charged. You come here, you shoot, you appear in the magazine, and hopefully you get more business, you get more OnlyFans, you get more whatever. I mean, you know how
Yeah.
many strip clubs we have here in Houston? And
Oh,
I had a relationship with a guy named Lucas, who was the manager at one of the clubs. And I said to him, I said, "Hey, let's do a thing. I'll give the strip club free ad space in the magazine. You just give the girls my phone number, and if any of them want to do photo shoots, if any of them want to be in the magazine, if any of them have OnlyFans pages, I'll help them out." And he was like, "No, I don't want to do that." So, what are you going to do? And I've written to a bunch of other clubs asking, does anybody want free? And that's the funny thing. Anybody want free publicity? Does anybody want 6 months
yeah.
of an ad, and not only in the magazine, but on the website and on Twitter? No, nobody even replies. And that when we talk about being formal, that's what her main complaint was. She said, out of all the photographers that she's ever dealt with in the last 5 years, I'm the only one that always answers the phone, always answers her questions, and is always willing to do something to work, to figure it out. She said everybody else is just too informal for her. They don't want to talk on the phone. They'd rather text. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, I hate that shit too, man. Because I be like, I'm old school. I like talking on the phone. That's just me.
I know. Yeah, and she's not old school, but she likes the fact that people will actually talk to her, you know, and she can tell them exactly what she's looking for on the phone, and they can tell her how much they're going to charge her. But no, she has bad luck with that. I don't know where she finds these guys from.
Yeah. Well, I always say this. I said this business is the easiest way for someone for wolves to hide in sheep clothing, per se. And like I said, and two also, because we still have I see stories about photographers fucking over girls and so forth. And like I said, I tell females, a lot of times they get caught up because they don't do their research and they don't pay attention to warning signs from that photographer, especially in the conversations. You know, because I mean, we talking about sex majority of the time. I don't think you want to do a photo shoot with him.
Exactly. You know, I'm always very clear on what the magazine is, what I expect from them, and if they're not interested in doing it, it's not that it's a problem. It's just that, okay, this is what I'm looking for. What are you willing to do? And if a girl doesn't want to get undressed, you know, she just wants to show off maybe her tits, or maybe she wants to show off her body, that's fine. You know, you want to do a BDSM shoot, and you're in, you know, just in a full latex cat suit, and that's fine. And we can unzip her the front just a little bit, just to, you know, give it a little bit of heat. But you don't have to take your clothes off. You don't have to get naked. You just have to tell me what your limits are. And that's a part of communicating, you know, the communication between the model and the photographer. Or in the case of a video, and between the, you know, the model and the producer, because, you know, when you're in, even those of you that are in the porn industry and stuff like that, you know, you got to remember that not every girl wants to do anal. And for those guys that aren't in the industry, you know, don't think just because you saw it on a video that your wife wants to you know, have your dick in her ass. You know, and not everybody likes that. You know, not every woman likes that. So you have to communicate with each other to understand what her limits are, what her needs are, what her desires are, and then work a script around that.
True. Yeah, because the thing about it is, even as a photographer, I wanted to make them feel comfortable and relaxed and sexy. You know,
of course.
Because the point being, so people understand is, this goes for photography or even porn. The sexier she feels, the better it's going to look on camera, the better it's going to come out, and the better she's going to feel.
Many years ago, and it's a funny story. Many years ago, a photographer from Playboy. We were talking about this because he was in my studio in New York, and he was looking at the canvases that I had on the wall of the silhouettes of women, you know, naked or partially naked, laying there and being lit from behind, and he liked it. And I said, "What is your secret?" And he said, "I'll just give you one piece of advice. The best photos are after the orgasm."
Yeah.
And I said, "Whose orgasm?" The models are mine. And he said, "Well, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself." But yeah, the more comfortable a model is, obviously, the better the photos are going to come out. The sexier she feels, the sexier the photos. And the more comfortable you make her feel.
Yeah.
And it's your job to
pussy.
Look, if a guy don't get a hard on eating pussy, he ain't a guy.
No, he's not.
No.
Yeah, if you don't get a hard on taking some of them pictures of them girls, you ain't a guy.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So people, I done help my sponsor up here for a wonderful hour. And we're gonna bring him back. It ain't gonna take as long to bring him back because we got more we're gonna talk about. So, man, tell everybody where they can find Eroticism magazine, where they can buy it, and read that short story about your many days of fucking a model.
Well, this is one story at a time, guys. One story at a time. But yeah, you can go to Zinio.com, go to the adult section. We're there. We're on the Eroticism magazine is on the second page. Right now, Erotique, we're having a problem with the publisher. It still has the image from Christmas there. I don't know why. They keep showing me that on their side it shows that the new issues are up. On my side, it doesn't show. So just go to eroticism, magazine.com or go to erotiquemagazine.com and there's links in there. You can get all your shit there. On Twitter, we're Eroticism Mags, MAGZ, and Erotique Mag. So yeah, I mean, we're out there, and all of our social links are the same on Twitter and Instagram. I do have a TikTok, but my one that I was, what happened to one of them. So now the one is very vanilla. A lot of it's just me bitching. The snowstorm we had here in Houston, it's things like that. My dog. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have some models from Houston show up here and or contact me, and even if you're not from the Houston area, shout out to me. We'll see what we can work out. I got no problem. I'm flexible in the respect that I'm willing to work in whatever way makes you feel more comfortable. If you have your own photographer, if your husband takes your pictures, nowadays, Bobby, I don't know how many people out there have updated phones, but my phone's got I can shoot up to 4K or 6K or whatever the hell it is, and apart from that, I can shoot raw photos, which are what we need for the magazine. I can shoot raw photos with my phone, and edit them in Lightroom, and get them set up for the magazine. So just talk to me and we'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, because even with me, because I'm hardcore myself, I like to use a camera, but using my cell phone, the pictures me turning out pretty good. Can't complain.
No,
Can't complain whatsoever.
Exactly. And then with the phones now, you can also, they have editing software you can buy for your phone or download for your phone and stuff. I don't do that because I use the computer. I just airdrop it from my phone to the computer, and then I upload it to Lightroom and I adjust the lighting. If it's a bad background, I'll get rid of the background completely. So yeah, anybody that wants to reach out can reach out. Send me an email. You can get my email off of the website or out of one of the magazines or anything. If you go to MagCloud, we're there on MagCloud as well. And you get like a 5-page preview so you can see the models that are in the issue. Bad thing about Zinio is you can't see what models are in the issue. But on MagCloud, you can go in there and you can see. And if you want to get it on Zinio because you have a Zinio subscription already, you can do that. That's what a lot of people do. They go and I get about 600 people per month that go and look at the magazine on MagCloud, and maybe 2 that buy.
Not bad.
Yeah. So come on, guys, help me out here, will you?
No doubt. And for any of you moms that's listening to this episode, the link is in the description to where you can hit him up and everything. And also, let me tell y'all about extra content you can get from the Smokers Lounge. First up, on loyal fans, my adult porn, my porn podcast or porncast network. I'm talking about none of it in the premium smoke room. 4. I repeat the word, 4 wonderful podcasts we enjoy, plus special events, and I even go live on X from time to time. The conversation gets saucier. The titties pop out. Dildos might pop out. You don't know what might pop off unless you subscribe. Plus, you can check out the Triple X store where you can see my work as I gave ladies the work because big dicks growing in sticks. That's why they call me Big Country. Also, check out my subscription side on Spotify where you can check out 2 wonderful episodes that I always drop on a regular basis. Had the Smoke on it where I give my unapologetic, controversial, unpopular opinion on certain subjects, as well as Savage Smoke. As I talk to the industry top male talents and producers about the industry, we'll give you that real smoke from a male perspective. So whether it's premium smoke or whether it's Savage Smoke, either way, get the smoke. You feel me? So now, you know, at the end of these shows, I always got to give y'all something to smoke over. So what did we smoke over today? And what did you learn? Well, there's many different sides of the adult industry. You just learned about the magazine side of things and everything. And magazines are still relevant. So is DVDs. What is old is now becoming new again. And what is old still works. See, the power of the picture still holds true in 2025. Why? Because so many of you ladies love posting pictures of you squirting. You love posting pictures of dildos and so forth. Yes, even though we're in the digital era, pictures are very important.
Oh yeah.
So is magazines. So is erotic stories and so forth. Once again, there's many areas within the adult world that you can tap into that one can help you market your materials better. Because we still forget we're in a bubble. Your job is to get outside that bubble. But the problem is because y'all so used to OnlyFans and social media telling you how big OnlyFans is, what they're not telling you the truth is OnlyFans is a limited market. Your job as a businesswoman, model, porn star is to become unlimited when it comes to marketing. That's why you need to go ahead and get this man up and get your ass in this magazine or any magazine for that matter. You feel me? So with that being said, you know, we in these things all day, every day. Life is a learning experience. What's the point of the experience if you haven't learned anything? Smoke is over. Say goodbye to him, Kev.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of the week. Check out our Twitter for Ass Wednesday.
Yes. And we out.